What's up, family? I wanted to have a viable conversation around this Hulk Hogan situation, right? I wanted to wait until the dust settled, and recently the controversy surrounding Hulk Hogan's 2015 racial rant resurfaced, sparking intense debate online. And to be clear, the recording was from around 2007, but came to light years later. In its wake, some people understandably cut ties with the wrestling icon, and for many others, the situation wasn't so simple. And this isn't about defending what was said, it's about exploring the fallout and asking important questions about the rules of public judgment. If the use of a racial slur is enough to permanently cancel someone, then many people might find themselves in a precarious position, and it forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about the language we use in private versus public and the standards we apply to different people. And it's a conversation worth having. So let's revisit the tape that became public in 2015. On it, Hulk Hogan discussed his daughter dating a black man, expressing a crude wish that she were with what he called the 8 foot tall N word worth $100 million, who played basketball. The backlash was immediate and severe. The WWE terminated its contract with him, stating the company is committed to embracing and celebrating individuals from all backgrounds. And for many, that was the end of the story. But there's additional context. In a Series XM interview, Hogan claimed his perspective on the N word was shaped by experiences in Miami, where he said black celebrities and rappers would use the term with him. While his comments were inexcusable to many, for others, the incident brought up questions about double standards and the complexities of judging individuals based on privately recorded, unguarded moments. But before we get to the article, I wanted to play this clip from this interview, which I found very interesting. Check it out, family.
We're going to get to Amy's exclusive interview with Hulk Hogan. His first interview since getting kicked out of the WWE for racist comments caught on tape. And Amy, this was a humbled Hulk Hogan.
That's right, George. This is a Hulk Hogan you really don't see. Emotional and apologetic in the face of a scandal that has many questioning whether he's a racist. The wrestling star heard in recently leaked audio using the N-word during portions of a secretly recorded tape from 2007.
Hulk Hogan's here! Hulk Hogan is in the building!
With his signature leg drop, horseshoe mustache, and unrivaled strength, 12-time world champion Hulk Hogan single-handedly transformed wrestling into a global phenomenon.
Unbelievable!
Today, he's fighting to maintain his legacy.
Could we stop for a second?
Terry Bollea, the man behind the once indestructible Hulkster, letting his guard down.
Out of everything that I've been through, this one hit me probably the hardest.
Wiped from the WWE Hall of Fame last month after portions of his conversation during a secretly recorded private encounter were leaked by the National Enquirer. On it, Bollea caught using racial slurs.
I was at the lowest point of my life, to the point where I wanted to kill myself.
You were suicidal.
Yes, I was. And I was very mad at my daughter for really no reason. I was upset over a situation that happened between her and her boyfriend, and I had no idea I was being taped.
On the tape, he refers to his daughter's then boyfriend using the N-word.
Are you a racist?
No, I'm not. I'm not a racist. I never should have said what I said. It was wrong. I'm embarrassed by it. But a lot of people need to realize that you inherit things from your environment. And where I grew up was South Tampa, and it was a really rough neighborhood, very low income. And all my friends, we greeted each other saying that word. The word was just thrown around like it was nothing.
Is it fair to say that you inherited a racial bias?
I would say that is very fair. The atmosphere, the environment I grew up in, all my white friends, all my black friends, to hear the word on a daily basis when they'd greet me in the morning, that's what they'd say to me. Good morning, so-and-so. I think that was part of the culture and the environment I grew up in.
For fans who feel let down by you, do you ask their forgiveness?
Oh my gosh, please forgive me. Please forgive me. I'm a nice guy. It's not, not the Hulk Hogan that rips the shirt off and bang, 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 slams giants. I'm Terry Bollea. I'm just a normal man.
But the WWE, not taking the risk, fired him.
Everything I've done, my whole career, my whole life, It was like it never happened.
Your image, your likeness, your name erased.
Yeah, like I'd never existed.
That had to hurt.
Oh my gosh, it was devastating.
All right. So you guys get the picture in regards of how he felt about it. Now I want to take it a step further. Now you can forgive because people make mistakes, and I believe that forgiving is a wonderful thing, and it should be advocated more because you cannot like what someone did, but you can forgive them, understanding that we are human, right? And the simple fact is, the situation forces us to look at the issue a more nuanced and look at the issue through a more nuanced and transparent lens. A difficult questions arise: have we created a cultural dynamic where the rules for racially charged language seem to apply differently depending on who is speaking? Because there are instances of public figures saying things that might be considered offensive, yet the consequences vary dramatically. And this isn't about excusing anyone's behavior, but about questioning whether our standards are applied consistently across the board. And the intense reaction to Hulk Hogan's private comments serves as a powerful case study for this very question. Because in this article, right, and I want to get to this article by David Dennis Jr., argued that Hogan's racist comments became a singularly defining part of his legacy. And the piece stated, as a result, Hulk Hogan died being known as a racist who became famous as a professional wrestler. He only has himself to blame for that. And that's what this article is basically saying. Right? And if we apply this, right, and the idea, right, the one moment can erase a lifetime of other contributions is a standard worth examining because many people have complex histories and have made mistakes they later regretted. And if we apply this singularly defining rule universally, few legacies will remain untarnished. And to hold one person to the standard while allowing nuance for others feels inconsistent. And it's a line of thinking that may contribute more to societal division than to a resolution and understanding. And this conversation isn't happening in a vacuum. And while for a long time it felt like race relations in the country were improving, and the rise of social media seems to have reversed that trend, is where I want to have the conversation, family. And the algorithms that reward outrage have amplified division. And we are now seeing deeply troubled consequences. For instance, news outlets have reported on the formation of white only communities, such as a group in Arkansas called Return to the Land. And this trend towards self segregation is a tragic symptom of a society growing more divided. And it is legal. I don't see nothing wrong with those individuals self segregating. They're not harming nobody. They're not, you know, they're not harming nobody or being racist. They're not, destroying humanity. They simply, in my opinion, is like they're exhausted of the racial division. And you say, you know what? I just want to create a community of my own full of peace in regards of rocking with the people I rock with. I take the skin color out of it. They're not bothering nobody. If they want to have their own land, I mean, look at it. We want to be objective here. Me being black and being raised in a black family in the black community, black people have HBCUs. They have black universities. Now, do they just accept black people? No, but they have black universities, black banks, right? So I don't see nothing wrong with the individuals in Arkansas, the group having their own community where they allow who they want to allow in, basically through a mission, and having to apply and so forth like that. But it makes you wonder: is social media amplifying the divide, right? Where people are getting tired of other races and this whole racial divide, and they like, look, I'm gonna just rock who I rock with. I mean, people do it on a regular. Is some black individuals that don't rock with a certain group of other black individuals who are ghetto and unprofessional, and that could go for any race. I'm just speaking on regards of my experience being a black person being raised in a black family in a black community, right? And this trend towards self-segregation is a tragic symptom of society growing more divided. And when dialogue breaks down and is replaced by permanent judgment, people may retreat into echo chambers. And the reality is that many people, when they gain financial security, move to communities they perceive as offering better opportunities, right? For example, growing in the hood, growing up in the hood, me being in a low income environment, growing up in the hood in the black community, when they invest in themselves, they get a higher education, they get a better job, they leave the hood because they don't want to be in a poverty and strict environment, which destroys everything. You have, people that's on drugs. You have people that are destroying anything that's built in the community, whether it's new parts or anything. And then at the end of the day, black on black crime in black communities are higher than ever because they kill each other far more than ever. So for their safety, for their family, when they do better, they like, look, I don't want to be eaten by this poverty and strict environment, because when you're poor and you are desperate and down on your last, you'll crash out, because most of these individuals in the black community have nothing to lose, and they don't care who they take down because they are not happy. Misery like company, right? So they move to better environments in the suburbs, which involve white people, right? If we want to be honest here. And there's nothing wrong with that. Wanting better property value, where the property value is actually cherished, the community is clean, you know, individuals are able to do their lawn and not be um having individuals being ignorant, stepping onto their where they live, and have shelter for them and their family, and not feeling though they are in the midst of violence or possibly a shootout out of nowhere when they don't know what's going to happen, putting their life and kids in dangers and family and so forth and loved ones. So my point that I'm making is, when they gain financial security and move to communities they perceive as better opportunities, which often results in a de facto segregation, right? This is not a sign of progress, but a tragic outcome of broken conversation on race. So, when observing the fallout from Hulk Hogan's situation and the often inconsistent rules of social media, one has to wonder about the underlying mechanics. The nature of the social media algorithm is to maximize engagement, and outrage is a powerful driver of engagement, is where I'm coming from with this whole thing, family. And these systems can inadvertently amplify the most divisive voices, creating a distorted perception that extreme views are more common than they are. And this dynamic risks putting the most inflammatory aspects of the racial conversation in front and center, potentially deepening the divide. And the satisfaction some take in canceling figures like Hulk Hogan, because now this is all this new cancel culture all of a sudden, which was created by social media, is a symptom of an online environment where constructive dialogue is often drowned out by moral certainty and division. And the intense and recurrent reaction to Hulk Hogan's past comments highlights a challenging and crucial conversation we need to have. We've entered a cultural moment where forgiveness can seem impossible, and where different people are held to vastly different standards. Because if that's the case, there's people in the black community who use the very thing that they say that is the N word, that word that is part of slavery and stuff like that. They call each other N words. So are you racially amongst your race? Because if that's the case, it has been said that black people could be the most racist amongst their own race, just like any other race. But my thing is, why don't we just erase the entire word completely? Why don't we just stop using the N word completely? Why won't we just stop this divisive rhetoric, is what I'm saying, right? But you can't have a double standard where you could forgive yourself because you black and you feel validated to use the N word, but then someone else a different color uses it in a way of having a conversation with you when you the one, because Hulk Hogan said in an interview, does it make it right that he said it? No, but let's take a step back, right? Black individuals call each other the N-word, right? And I've grew up around family members who call each other N-word all the time. I just happen to take it out of my vocabulary because I hate the word. I think it's divisive, and It's the past. It's sentiment. It was connected to slavery, as they say, right? But why are we going backwards and being more divisive? So it's okay for you, a black person, to call another black person the N-word, but soon as someone else basically adopts the conversation to be more likable, approachable by you, like a Hulk Hogan who's a different color, now he's racist. But the simple fact is, you ever thought that you accept the precedent of a certain dialogue? Because some people only like to be talked to when they are being talked to the same way they like to have conversations of. So what I'm saying is, you ever realize that you could be in a room with somebody, but since you don't talk like them or you don't talk the way they want you to talk, they even have a conversation with them. They don't even see you as worth having a conversation. So what about those black individuals that thought, oh man, you need to you too proper. I get accused of in my own demographic. My family members told me I was too proper because I speak with proper etiquette. I was called a black white boy from my experience, because I like to read and I like to just get information. I like to expand my vocabulary because I like new words, right? So what I'm saying is, hold the same standards for yourself, black community, black Twitter, whatever the case may be. So you want to use the N-word when it comes to validating, when you want to use the N-word when it comes to validating your feelings, when you don't feel as though someone else a different race is perceiving that way, is perceived the way to your liking. Because all the N-word is a use of a validation as a sense of control from the black community to feel like you can't say that, but I can say that. That's a double standard, period, no matter what race, right? And the thing is, like I said, there are certain black individuals within the community that don't like certain black individuals. You have a proper professional black individuals who want to invest in themselves, get an education, and grow and expand their mind and change in the renewing of their mind. And they want to be a valuable asset in their communities and society and being a productive American citizen, American citizen, not a ghetto, unprofessional one that's damaging the communities, lowering the property values, increasing violence. But these demographic that want better for themselves and want to be actually valuable to the communities, to these certain ghetto demographic of individuals, feel like these people are holier than thou because they're not like-minded. So then the individuals who operate out of ignorance want validation. Oh, well, you not operating, acting like me, because they want the person that wants better to be on their same level. If you don't validate the person that don't want to do nothing, the ghetto individual, then you're seen as, oh, you too good for us. Oh, you think you better than us. And then they'll use the N-word and be like, N-word, you ain't nothing, you just like us. And they'll tear you down using the same word. So my point is, the certain demographic who's ghetto and use the N-word and spew that divisive rhetoric, no matter what color you are, but I'm speaking to the black community, then you are no different when it comes to spreading and advocating for division, which is destructive and ignorant. And the simple fact is, if you don't want to be seen as this N-word, then maybe you need not to be an example of being ignorant, damaging communities, lowering property value, um, not investing in yourself, not being a productive citizen, sitting on your behind, because let's be real, sitting on your behind on Section 8, having babies out of wedlock. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I had a child out of wedlock, but I'm saying, when is it a time that you do better? And just like I said, everybody I feel like should get rid of this. I don't feel like they should. This N-word should be banned. Nobody should say it. But what I'm saying is, don't be the very example of something not to be, because everybody looks at winners. Right? If you want to be successful, you're going to look at somebody who has actually been successful and documented the journey and actually shown steps and actually been a valuable citizen to show how to be successful. Nobody focuses on the losers. They focus on winners, right? Winners win, losers lose. So my thing is, two things could be said. Don't sit there and have a double standard for somebody to use the N-word as a black person, but to use the N-word, because the word is bad all the way around, no matter what skin color. Two is, then what they call them YNs now. It's not just N word, it's YNs. Well, don't be part of the conversation where you're seen as an N-word because you're damaging communities and you are being prefaced as this bad as an individual who is ignorant, ghetto, saying the N-word. And then when people say, don't act like that N-word, you get mad, but you the one that call yourself the N-word. And you're acting like the very thing that you don't want other people to say, but you are not thinking you're not going to be looked at as that because that's what you spew out your mouth, because your tongue is what your tongue, your words have power. So what you say is who you are. How you conduct yourself and what you do is who you are. So all I'm saying is, family, that we entered a culture moment where forgiveness can seem impossible and where different people are held to vastly different standards. And this path doesn't appear to be leading toward a greater justice of unity. Instead, it's pushing us further apart. And while uncomfortable, it's vital to ask if these are the rules we want for our societies, no matter what color, can we find a way to hold people accountable for their mistakes without permanently defining them by their worst moments? Can we build a culture that allows for growth and redemption? I'm interested to hear your thoughts on all this and this complex issue. And please share your perspective in the comments. And if you find this discussion viable, be sure to like and subscribe for more conversations like this. Thanks for watching. On that note, family, spread that peace, love, and positivity. Let the love supersede the hate. And as always, I advocated for strong communities, amazing, loving families, uh, with married, mom and dad in the household, being married, and just all demographics coming together because different perspectives, you know, I look at it like from our mind. I don't care what skin color. We all have different perspectives on life. And that's when you have all those different perspectives combined. It's so amazing because then you're able to look at things from different angles and then actually have the productive conversation that is actually viable with a purpose to then uplift each other in unity and embrace each other through love. And we all rock with each other because at the end of the day, when you have this divisive rhetoric, no matter what skin color, it puts us down, all of us down. We're bigger than this. But anyway, I'll catch you in the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll talk to you later. Peace.